Welcome to Cox San Diego Connection. Today's topic is philanthropy, giving, helping, charity, compassion. It can be described in many ways. In San Diego, there are many people who care and practice philanthropy on a daily basis. Among them are the people who work for the San Diego Foundation. And one of them is here with us now. She's the president and CEO, Kathleen Mee. Thank you for being with us. How do you describe the San Diego Foundation to people you meet?
Well, first, thank you for inviting me here today. The San Diego Foundation is an organization that works with San Diegans who have an interest in philanthropy. We connect them to organizations that they're passionate about to address the challenges in San Diego, to ensure that their generosity and their commitment will make an impact in the community.
Oh, in the last couple of years, we've heard a lot about health care. You have turned healthcare into sort of philanthropy. How do you do that?
Well, part of what we do is to identify with individual donors, individuals in the community, businesses, with nonprofits in the community, where the greatest challenges are in San Diego. And what we try to do is to say, let's connect that philanthropic opportunity to the nonprofits, which then the nonprofits will provide services to the people in the community that need them the most. So health and human services, health care, is one of the areas where many of our donors want to contribute to ensure that people get the quality health care that they deserve and that they need.
Another big ticket item for the foundation is education. Why is that so important to you?
Well, we believe that education is the opportunity that it provides the opportunity that many of us have had to improve our lives, to be able to contribute economically to the community. And we think the first starting point is through education. And education takes a variety of forms. It can be in the form of middle school, grade school, STEM education. It can be college support for colleges through the forms of scholarship. Education can also be in helping people find the direction that they want to go through vocational careers and other opportunities that we may not traditionally think of as requiring educational support.
You also steer a lot of your donors towards helping the youth. Again, why is that a key component of your programs?
Well, I don't know that I'd necessarily say we steer our donors in that direction. What we do is we help advise our donors. So our donors come to us and say, we have a real interest in youth. We want to ensure that young people have the opportunity to contribute to San Diego's economy. And so what our donors do may say, I'm interested in youth, and we find ways that they can help youth in our community, whether that's through volunteerism, whether that is through lending their expertise, or whether it's lending financial support in organizations that are very youth-facing.
Now, the Cox Care Foundation is proud to be a part of the San Diego Foundation. Tell us about the partnership we have and why it works so well.
Next year, Cox will be 15 years with the San Diego Foundation, and they have been offering scholarships in our community for that entire period of time. The way the partnership works is that Cox relies on us to identify students to be able to come forward and compete for these scholarships. It helps students who live in our community go to the schools of their choices so that they, again, can receive that education that will help them with their futures.
We've heard of the Center for Civic Engagement. What is that about?
Well, the Center for Civic Engagement is an opportunity for people to come to the San Diego Foundation or for us to go out to them in their communities, where we will educate, convene, and provide public programming around activities to ensure that people are civically engaged. Oftentimes people don't know where they can get involved in their communities. Can they attend a school board meeting? Shall they attend a city council meeting or a board of supervisors meeting? What we try to do is to show them the places where they can become involved and engaged, the process for becoming involved and engaged, and connecting them with other people who are like-minded and they want to learn from and participate with. So it's an excellent opportunity for people to come together and show their interest in improving San Diego.
November is upon us and the end of the year draws close. Why is this a great time to help for various reasons?
Well, during this time of the year, I think we all feel a little bit more generous. The Thanksgiving holidays gives us an opportunity to be thankful for those people around us, as well as for the opportunities and the rewards we've received. And it's a great time for us to think about sharing some of that with those people who may not have had the same opportunities that we have had. Christmas is a generous time of the year, obviously, along with Hanukkah and other December celebrations, for determining how you can give more of yourself as opposed to thinking about what you can receive. So it's a time of year for all of us to just think about how we can give to those around us who really need our support.
Why is philanthropy so important? How do you respond to that question?
It's a really good question, and I would say that philanthropy is important because it allows us to receive the intrinsic reward of giving. Each of us have something to give. We have an expertise, an opportunity to share. Many of us have had financial rewards that we would like to share with our community. San Diego especially is an amazing place to live, but we can all help to make it better. So when you think about philanthropy, it gives you an opportunity to participate in your community.
Thank you, Kathleen Mead, for being with us. Appreciate your work.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, in a few moments, we'll introduce you to someone who has dedicated the last 20 years of her life to helping San Diego and the San Diego community. Please stay with us.
We are hiring and looking for the very best.
Every day, people hit the beaches. Welcome to my office.
Come ride with us.
Come work a Padre game with us.
My job? Yeah, it's interesting.
I want to personally invite you to join our championship team.
Let's go.
Come see what we have to offer.
At Cox Communications, we're not just giving back. We're investing in our future by opening doors of opportunity and expanding the learning potential for thousands of students. For decades, Cox and the Cox Cares Foundation have supported education throughout Southern California through scholarships, nonprofit grants to help educate children, support for our teachers, and by providing computers and internet access to students and families. For more information on Cox's community involvement, visit cox-cares.org.
Today's Cox San Diego Connection is all about philanthropy, which is a big part of the Jewish Community Foundation. Its goal is to engage, educate, and inspire generations of givers. Its president and chief executive officer is Marjorie Kaplan, who is with us now this morning. Thank you for being with us. Give us a little background into the foundation.
Well, Sal, we were founded in 1967. We're the oldest community foundation in the county. And during that time, we've been very focused on philanthropy, on giving, and our big news today is that we have now reached our $1 billion mark in terms of money grants given away.
That is amazing, amazing. Now, you've been at the helm for 20 years, but you've decided to step away for a little bit. You've accomplished a lot. You went from about 14 million in assets to more than 300, so now you've reached the $1 billion mark. That is a lot to be proud of, Marjorie.
Yeah, the 300 million, or 315 at last count, is our asset base. The $1 billion is the cumulative giving that has occurred over all the years, and that's what we're especially proud of. And yes, it's just been a really, really wonderful opportunity to be able to serve the community.
A lot of satisfaction when you think of all the people you've helped. You've scored a lot of points.
Well, I think that people, our donors, we have about, I'd say, when you count all the different types of people that work with us in a variety of ways, both for their current giving and their estate planning, we've probably worked easily with 1,000 families. And I think they're really looking for an organization who can help them make a mark in their lives and give back. And they're looking for people who are friendly and efficient and they can really trust.
Tell us how you do educate these people and help them give and contribute and help a lot of people out there.
Well, I'll give an example, and a lot of people think, oh, you have to be a super millionaire or gazillionaire to be part of the Jewish Community Foundation, and that is not true. Some of our funds are $1,800. People give away $100 here, $100 there. We'll often meet with a family. For example, I just spoke with a family, and they're thinking of a way to honor their grandfather who just passed away. And we're going to have a family meeting. They're kind of moving toward either a scholarship fund or a gift to a Boys and Girls Club that he was especially active in. So that's the kind of thing that we get to do day in, day out.
Now, the Foundation's motto, and we spoke about this earlier, engaging, educating, and inspiring generations of givers. Why is this so important?
Well, what we see, many of our senior donors, our elders, are the great generation who, or maybe a little younger, who saw what happened in World War II, who saw the defeat of Hitler, who saw the establishment of the State of Israel, and they are so committed to giving, not only to the Jewish community, but in general to make the world a better place, to keep us strong. And what's interesting, a lot of people don't know that 80% of our grants go to the general community, 20% go to the Jewish community to keep us strong. And then we work, they're very concerned, these wonderful elders are very concerned that their kids and grandkids aren't going to be as generous as they have been. So they look to us to kind of join with them in a partnership to help educate their children and grandchildren about giving.
Tell us about the programs you have to help nonprofits, to help make them better so they can help a lot more folks down the way.
I'm glad you brought that up, Sal, because we really so much respect the work of our nonprofits in San Diego, and we want to make them look good. We want our donors to say, okay, I want to help kids with cancer, or I want to help senior transportation. We want to be able to show our donors 2 or 3 programs where they're really doing a good job, and then the donor can make a really informed decision. So we meet with nonprofits routinely. We have special programs to help them focus on bequest planning, which is a big area of giving. It's one of the biggest, and that means what people leave in their wills to give to the community. One of our donors was laughing the other day. She said, "I'm not a big giver in my lifetime, but afterwards I'm going to be a really big giver," because she has allotted for a very generous bequest in her will.
You also help people who might have stocks, a big portfolio.
Absolutely.
You help them use those assets to help folks. How do you do that?
Well, that's one of the real wonderful advantages of working with a community foundation, any community foundation. When you have a family donor advised fund, you can choose a stock. Today would not be a good day because we've had some market corrections, but often people are holding appreciated stock. And instead of selling that stock and paying capital gains tax, they give it to a community foundation to fund their family fund. And it's double dipping, but in a totally legal way. You get to deduct the fair market value of the stock, and you get to avoid all capital gains on the transfer to the community foundation. So say somebody has $20,000 worth of stock that they bought for $5,000. They move it into their family fund, they get to give away $20,000, and they have a tax deduction for $20,000.
And you ask you why philanthropy is important. How do you respond to that question?
Well, in the Jewish community, we have a very, very strong value, and it revolves around something called tzedakah, which is a Hebrew word that doesn't really mean charity, although it's often translated that way. It means justice. And philanthropy is all about justice, evening the odds. The money we have, I remember Saul Price said this to me years ago, it's not really my money. I have been lucky on this earth, and now I have to figure out how to leave it a better place.
Well said. Thank you, Margie. Good luck to you. I know you're not riding off into the sunset. You're going to be very active still.
Thank you.
For being with us.
Thank you very much, Sal.
After a short break, we'll hear from a very well-known facilitator who brings people together to help San Diego and its residents in many wonderful ways. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
The Jewish Community Foundation of San Diego partners with individuals, families, and community organizations to help them achieve their philanthropic goals. Through the foundation, you can access resources for current giving, connecting philanthropists, continued learning, and legacy planning. Since its inception in 1967, the foundation has facilitated over $1 billion in grants that serve San Diego, Israel, and the world. For more about the foundation, visit jcfsandiego.org.
Do your children have what they need to succeed in school? Students with a computer and internet at home have a higher graduation rate than those without. And while more teachers assign homework online, having internet access at home is critical to the education and future of our youth. If your child is part of the National School Lunch Program and you have not had Cox Internet, you may qualify for the Connect to Compete program to get discounted internet service. Call 855-222-3252 or visit connecttocompete.org/Cox to apply.
We're on the subject of philanthropy, giving, helping, and providing opportunities. As you're about to find out, no one does it better than San Diego Grantmakers. The group's executive director is with us now, Nancy Jameson. Thanks for being here with us. You've been here with us before, and I'm sure you've told the story many times over, but tell us about Grantmakers, who you are.
Sure. Well, I have the pleasure of being the Executive Director for San Diego Grantmakers. We are a membership association, but what I really like to call us is a network of engaged philanthropic organizations. So we do not give grants, despite our name, but our 100+ members do, and they're organizations that are either corporations like Cox or foundations like the San Diego Foundation, the Jewish Community Foundation, and others that give money in the community. They're formed with the purpose of giving back, and they give to any number of causes that nonprofits do, the arts, health, environment, animals, children, you name it. We have members that give to those. And our purpose is to bring them together so they can learn from each other and they can learn from what we like to call best practices in effective philanthropy. How can you have the most impact in your work when you're giving money back? What's going to make the most difference in our community?
So being a facilitator, is it hard to bring people together when it comes to giving?
Well, yes and no, I guess. On one hand, every organization has their own objectives, as they should. They have a mission, they have a strategy, they need to achieve something. They're trying to make a difference in homelessness or in education, and that's what they should do. They should focus on it. But our members understand that they can magnify and amplify that focus if they work with others. So we facilitate that possibility. So that means that one of the things we do for our members is to bring them together around issues of common interest. So we've had a group of folks that have focused on homelessness, a group of folks that focused on the needs of veterans and their families returning into San Diego, and a number of other areas. Because if they combine forces, if they combine their dollars and their knowledge, they will make a bigger and better impact with their dollars. It's leverage. It's combining forces, collaboration, and leverage.
When you do leverage the resources, why is it at times a better way to go than say, I will write a check or I'll go work for somebody?
Well, I think what we've learned in philanthropy and in anything having to do with sort of social solutions over the last few years is that people can't go it alone. They can't be in silos. That we all, whether it be philanthropy on its own or philanthropy working with government, working with industry, working with education, how do you work together to address issues in society? There's a lack of resources. We don't have the money flowing around that we used to have, and there are perhaps more and more challenges that we have in many different sort of sectors in what we call the social sector. So combining your knowledge and your funds makes a big difference and impact. There's a phrase that is used a lot in this work called collective impact or collective action. That's one form of getting people on the same page. We have some examples of that in a number of arenas where we can show that that makes a big, big difference.
How can you focus or help someone focus their resources into something? Can they come to you and say, well, I want to help, but I'm not sure how to go about it?
So it sort of depends on what you're formed to do. So our company members, our corporate members, have a number of reasons to be giving back in the community. They want to invest in the community because it's a community they care about. They want to do things that resonate with their employees. They want to do something that resonates with their and fits with their business interests, their business purpose. So you think about those things and then go forth, do some strategizing, go forth and focus your efforts on that. Some of our families have family experience, or they have a family foundation. They have things that the individual members or perhaps the family's shared experience have led them to want to give to the arts, to education, to veterans, to anything a nonprofit does. One of the things that we talk a lot about is how the people that are doing the funding are the people that are doing the funding, but the people that are doing the work are the nonprofits. They're the people on the ground in the communities that know whatever it is they know because they're doing it. They're connected to community. And so it's very important to, for funders, foundations, corporate giving programs to really, really listen to what it is the nonprofits are telling them and what it is the residents of San Diego are telling them about what the needs and opportunities for growth and improvement are.
This month you're staging workshops for donors and potential donors, but you do this throughout the year. How do you help these people throughout the year come to you and you give them guidance to be able to help out?
Mm-hmm. Well, so mainly the way we give support to our members is through workshops and conferences. We also convene them around issues of common interest, as I mentioned, and then we have websites and newsletters and so forth that get information. I didn't know this when I started in this business a few years ago, but there really is a field to effective philanthropy. It's a practice, just like any kind of specialty that we are engaged in. And we are able to aggregate and curate what it really takes to give back money well. Some of it has to do with on the front end doing due diligence about the nonprofit. If you're deciding between nonprofit A and B, you know, which one has the strength and the character and the staff and the financial well-being and the vision to get it done, well, that's where you should give your money. So we talk a lot about that, and we also talk a lot about the other end, where how do you measure the impact of your investment? You should start thinking about that before you make the investment, but how are you going to know at the end of the day what the short-term and long-term impact is in the community of the nonprofit that you gave the money to? Finding the right partners is special. It's an art and a science, you know, some of it's from the heart, some of it's from the head. You got to really think about it and you got to really feel it at the same time. And that's what we bring our members around to learn from each other and again from best practices to do.
Nancy Jameson, thank you for being with us, San Diego Grantmakers. Appreciate it. After a short break, we'll continue our conversation with Nancy and a shining example of why giving should be a top priority for everyone. Please stay with us.
We are hiring and looking for the very best.
Every day, people hit the beaches. Welcome to my office.
Come ride with us.
Come work a Padre game with us.
My job? Yeah, it's interesting.
I want to personally invite you to join our championship team.
Let's go.
Come see what we have to offer.
Your legacy can reflect everything that is most important and meaningful to you. The Jewish Community Foundation of San Diego provides charitable estate planning services to support organizations for generations to come. A legacy gift helps ensure a secure future for our community, locally, nationally, in Israel, and worldwide. As trusted philanthropy advisors, the Foundation is honored to fulfill this role. For more about the Foundation, visit jcfsandiego.org.
Philanthropy can be expressed in different ways. It comes in different forms. We've been finding that out through the work of Nancy Jameson and San Diego Grantmakers. Sitting next to Nancy is Sandra Timmons of the Timstern Family Fund, who has found a way to share her success with a lot of people, especially folks at UCSD. Thank you for being with us, Nancy, once again. Sandra, let's start with you. You have a slogan, very profound, I might add. Touch a life, they touch the world.
Right. I can't take credit for that. That's actually UCSD's program for developing scholarships for underserved students. It's found that ability is not random, but opportunity is. And so UCSD has made a concerted effort to increase the number of students who can come to the school based on merit, not based on their ability to pay. And that's the slogan they developed.
Now, your husband, Richard Sandstrom, and you are co-founders of Cymer Incorporated, and you pioneer a lot of the semiconductors that we have in electronic gizmos. You're both graduates of UCSD. Is that a big reason why you wanted to start your philanthropy with UCSD?
Yeah. Well, it's one of the reasons. We're both alumni, and as is one of our children, our daughters also graduated from UCSD. But UCSD is more than just a place where we were educated. It's an engine in this community. It is the #1 employer in San Diego County. It is has spread off 600 other companies other than Cymer, so it's an economic engine in a lot of ways. I can't take any credit for Cymer. It really was the brainchild of Bob Akins and my husband Richard Sandstrom, and they've devoted their full lives to it. But they met at UCSD and they developed their ideas at UCSD, so UCSD is a big place in our lives.
You help a lot of people, and you were involved with the San Diego Children's Choir. Why did you get involved with that?
Okay, well, San Diego Children's Choir is also on the education continuum. Nancy's organization actually convened a group on education that is trying to move and really change education here in San Diego. It's looking at 3 different aspects, and one of them is early childhood. Well, San Diego Children's Choir also addresses that same issue, early childhood. Music education in early years actually increases neural pathways that are needed for literacy, and it also helps children learn to focus and attend, and these impact all of their learning when they get into school. So I've been very involved with the Children's Choir because I want to see it making greater impact in the early years so that the achievement gap can be closed. And so it is part of the whole spectrum of education that's near and dear to me.
Nancy, Sandra and her husband are a perfect example of what can be done when people get involved. Why do we need more people like Sandra and her husband to be part of San Diego and really help out?
Well, so philanthropy sounds kind of like a fancy word, right? People go, oh, I'm not a philanthropist, but we all are philanthropists, and no matter what our resources are, that's what I've really learned at this job, no matter what your resources are, what you have to give back, we're called to do so. And San Diego doesn't have a lot of sort of big companies. We have not so many Fortune 500 companies. We can't depend on the big companies and their corporate giving programs or big foundations, which we also don't have a lot of. We have to depend on ourselves. And on that continuum, there's people with not very many resources and more resources, and they all have to step up because that's what community is about, and that's how we build community.
Sandra, tell us about your work trying to uplift school districts and the children that are there.
Well, like I mentioned, the convening done by grant makers actually pulled together business, community, and educational individuals, and they developed this organization called Education Synergy Alliance. And the alliance is not funding education changes, but they're trying to get large donors from outside of San Diego as well as local donors to address some of these proven interventions to have children succeed. The ESA is actually working on 3 different initiatives, and the first one is called Linked Learning. And Linked Learning is a proven way to get more kids engaged in high school and get them to graduate. And so it is one way to make children successful and make our economic situation here in San Diego better for all.
Our guests today are answering a question, very specific, and we're getting very different answers, but very incredible as far as philanthropy. And I'm asking the question, why is it so important? Nancy, how do you respond to that? Why is philanthropy so important?
Well, philanthropy is a win-win situation. It is incredibly rewarding for the person who has the opportunity to do it. And it is also an incredible civic value that San Diego benefits from. So I feel really lucky to have the job that I do because I get to work with people of all different shapes and sizes and all different goals and aspirations that are trying to be as effective as possible with their giving. But anybody can do that, and anybody should do that. Everybody should do that because that's what makes us weaves us together as a community, is giving back because we're strengthening ourselves and others as we do so.
Sandra, what's your response?
I think personally, I want to live in a community that is where people are engaged and people care about each other. And one way to do that is to support organizations that help all of us do that. Historically, the United States has been wonderful, and California even more so in some success, but everybody needs to be successful, and to do that we need to raise the boat, we need to address the needs of all people, not just those who can earn the capital to have a fun life or a nice life. And so we can do that. We have more than we need, so we can do that by giving back to this community.
Thank you, Sandra. Appreciate all your work. You too, Nancy.
Thank
you once again. Now, I'm Salvador Rivera, and on behalf of our guests and the employees of Cox Communications, we want to thank all of you for watching Cox San Diego Connection, helping you learn and prosper.